So first of all, my name is Baljeet Singh from Ajuba. I am the CEO of Ajuba and also chairman of Roar for Change. We are bringing to our attendees a fortnightly webinar series. So it's a learning to skill India. We have coined this word skill, which is scientific knowledge for international learning and leadership. So in this, what we intend to do is we bring in high-tech webinars for our audience in India and globally. Our first webinar, which is today, is going to be on cybersecurity. And we have partnered, Ajuba has partnered with ThriveDX out of Israel for offering the cybersecurity platform for corporates, education institutes across India. So I'm just going to go through a little bit of the agenda. Give me 1 second as we. All right. So this session, we have amazing speakers. I will introduce Yakir, and Yakir will introduce Osvaldo, Avi. And we also have Rishi, who's going to support us in our Q&A session. Little bit about my background to all the attendees. I'm the CEO of Ajuba, but my humble journey started when I was 17 years when I came from India to US. I have a degree in microelectronics. It's making of computer chips from Rochester, New York. Post my degree, I have been kind of fortunate to be part of a lot of innovations that have come into marketplace. For example, everybody drives cars. In every car, we have an airbag. So I was part of the team that brought an accelerometer chip to the market, which was a company called Analog Devices. Post that, I was fortunate to live in Israel for 2 years. I was part of a team where we brought in the world's first fully automated scanning electron microscope that can measure dimensions less than the hair width. 98, I started my first company, 2000, my second company, and so on. My journey kind of continued. Ajuba is something that we started in 2014. We are focusing on innovative technologies from 3 regions. I call them the IN regions, IIN, India, Israel, and North America. So we are connecting these 3 regions for innovative education, high tech, be it in healthcare, in several industries. I'll give you kind of a little bit about how we will flow through the webinar today. We will start off with the cybercrime in India, what exactly happening in this space. Then we'll talk about, I will hand over to Yakir. Yakir and Avi will kind of start talking about the importance of cybersecurity, then the job importance, top cybersecurity threats. We will also talk about the ThriveDX platform that we have partnered with ThriveDX to offer to all our customers, be it corporates and education institutes. Then we'll talk about what Ajuba with its partners are bringing, be it diplomas or certifications. Then we will spend time on Q&A. And like I said, it's a fortnightly webinar. We'll also talk about our next webinar. I want to kind of start off with what exactly is happening in the cybercrime space. So just to give you the data, it is pretty alarming. India in 2022 has witnessed more than 14 lakh cyber attacks. So it's not a small number, it's amazing. In fact, the recent attack has been with the Suzuki Motorcycle India, which just recently happened. And they had to essentially halt their production for a week. So a week of halt of production means 20,000 units that was not produced in the motorcycle division of Suzuki. This does not end. examples kind of go on, be it SBI, Domino's, Air India, healthcare institutes, everybody has been attacked with cybercrime. So it is a huge challenge, but also remember that challenges provides opportunities. And opportunities is what we are focusing here, is how we can not only be part of the journey of huge cybersecurity field, but also what is there for us. I'm going to introduce Yakir. I mean, amazing person. I've known Yakir for more than a year and a half now. Yakir is the country manager at ThriveDX for India. I am always amazed to hear Hindi from him whenever I talk to him. So he has taken Hindi from Tel Aviv University. Prior to ThriveDX, he was with the Consulate Embassy of India, where in Israel, he was managing a lot of high delegations coming from India to Israel or Israel to India. In fact, in 2017, when Prime Minister Modi visited Israel, he was part of the entire organization team over there. I will hand over to Yakir. Yakir, floor is all yours.
Thank you so much, Rajit. So I'm very glad to be here and welcome everyone. And we prepared for you a very interesting webinar about cybersecurity. So, and I'm sure that at the end of the webinar, you will actually will create more knowledge for you about cybersecurity after this webinar. So in a nutshell, what we are doing as ThriveDX, basically, we have two major problems around the world today. One is the talent shortage, which is globally known today. We have around between 3 to 4 million unfulfilled vacancies as we speak in cybersecurity. Okay, and this causes a lot of problems for organizations, governments, you name it. And also, on the other hand, we see that 95% of all data breaches actually involve in the human aspect, the human factor, as we call it, of cybersecurity. So you can have the most up-to-date firewall infrastructure, you name it. Eventually, the hackers will find a way to penetrate it, and it all comes to maybe you already saw it or encounter it, one phishing email, one innocent-looking email that you will click, or it could be also an SMS, and your entire, let's say, organization or your privacy is compromised. Okay, and this is basically what ThriveDX is doing, is solving these two major problems, and this is the reason that we are focusing on the human aspects of cybersecurity. So far we trained more than 10 million enterprise users, and we have more than 60,000 bootcamp graduates. Now, when we speak about the bootcamp, a major program for education, we also call it from zero to hero. And why we are calling it this way? Because we are taking people without any background in cybersecurity or even in computers, and we train them according to the Israeli methodologies, which is actually based in the Israeli elite cybersecurity unit of the Israeli army. And we train them according to this methodology. Eventually, they will become cybersecurity professionals with hands-on experience in cybersecurity. And I will show you the platform after Ovi will speak. Using this hands-on study, you basically create value for yourself and the organization that you are working for. And we see tremendous success stories from all over the place, because we have bootcamp graduates from the US, from Europe, from India as well, from Philippines, actually from all over the place today. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to Osvaldo Rivera, Ovi, which is actually, he himself is the success stories of our bootcamp or of our ThriveDX program. And why is that? Because Osvaldo actually, he came from the US Army. He served in the US Army for 22 years, but he didn't have any background in cybersecurity. And basically he wanted a change of his career. So with the help of our boot camp, basically, he's now working as a cybersecurity professional. And I'm sure that he can actually share more of his knowledge and experience about the boot camp, about the ThriveDX boot camp. So without further ado, Osvaldo, Ovi, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Jakir. Let me share my screen real quick. Okay, I'm sure everybody can see my screen right now, right? Okay, so thank you, Jakir. And as Jakir said, my legal name is Osvaldo, but I always use Ovi. Growing up, that was my nickname. I'm actually, Jakir was talking about how Israel is a small country. I come from a little island that in the map, it looks like a little dot. I come from a little island in the Caribbean called Puerto Rico. And I was born and raised in Puerto Rico. And it wasn't until I became an adult that I decided to leave Puerto Rico and enlist in the United States Army. I've always liked computers, always. Dating back to the mid-'80s, when my godfather gave me a computer. It was a Commodore 64. For those of you that maybe heard about computers, there's a Commodore 64 that I never learned how to use. So I enlisted in the Army, and I spent the next 22 years, most of my adult life, in the United States Army. And my background was not cybersecurity. My job in the military had nothing to do with cybersecurity. A lot to do with information security, but nothing to do with cybersecurity. In fact, when I deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan, I was part of a team that was looking for homemade explosive devices. I knew how to work with dynamite, with explosions, I was a boat operator, nothing to do with cybersecurity. So fast forward till after I retired from the Army, you spent so many years doing something and that becomes your identity. So, after 22 years, I needed to find a new career because I was still young. I'm retired from the Army, great benefits in the U.S. Army. I don't need to work ever again to survive, but I needed to do something. So I spent maybe 5 years after the military just doing a little things here and there, but I was still trying to find what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. So in 2017, I decided to go and pursue a master's degree in computer information systems from Texas A&M University. And I started, let me back up a little bit. I started my master's degree in human resources, and I took an elective class on foundations of computer programming to see if I still had that spark and that passion for computers. And when I took that coding class, I loved it. And the very next day, I went and changed my degree plan to computer information systems. I graduated from Texas A&M with that master's degree. And to be completely honest with you, everything was theory. There was nothing hands-on. Maybe we did 2 labs. I think I learned how to use Wireshark one day and Packet Tracer. That's it. So I knew very little. All I knew was what I knew from the books. I didn't know what a switch was, what a server, what a router. I heard of them, but I've never hands-on actually configured one until I came to the boot camp. So that changed my vision, my goals. Now that I pursue a degree in something that I knew I was going to be passionate about. And then fast forward to, that was 2017, 2021, when I was in my last organization, I was the network administrator. And it just so happened that the boot camp from ThriveDX, through a partnership with a local college over here, Central Texas College, which, by the way, Texas A&M also use our labs now, but it was Central Texas College. And through my partnership that Central Texas College had with my organization, which was the Workforce Solutions of Central Texas, they asked the IT team, there was only 4 of us. So my IT director asked who wants to go to the cybersecurity boot camp. and nobody raised their hand, I raised my hand right away. I want to go. It's something I wanted to learn. I've always heard this cybersecurity buzzword. It's more than just a buzzword now, but I always wanted to learn what is cybersecurity. I say I go anything that can separate me from my peers or anything that involves learning, I'm in it. So I say yes, I go to the cybersecurity bootcamp, and I can honestly tell you that it changed my life forever, because I know this is what I wanted to do until I can't work anymore. It was exactly what I was missing in terms of computers. I always wanted to know what was behind the computers and how does everything work, and how does it work and how you protect it. And I found it here with the cybersecurity bootcamp. I even changed my lingo. I'm so confident talking about cybersecurity now that it's second nature. I went and took the, also I never, when I came into cybersecurity, I had 0 certification. I just took that certification you see right there, that CompTIA Security Plus. I just took that exam about a week ago and passed it. I learned everything through the bootcamp. So yeah, so it changed my life for the better. And hopefully by the time I finish my speech, some of this passion can transfer over to some of you attending the webinar, because it's an amazing field. And I'm gonna go over why is it important. I'm gonna go over some of the topics that we cover that you will learn in the bootcamp. And I'm gonna do a quick demonstration, something that you hear about it, you read about it, but you never seen it with your own eyes. I'm gonna show you exactly how a hacker goes into a web application and manage to get behind the back end and extract some sensitive information for whatever reason they wanted to use it now for. And I'm gonna show you that. So you heard about it, now you're gonna see it. Let me change the slide. So why a cybersecurity career is worth pursuing? First of all, I think Yakir touched a little bit about who we are, and because we are a cyber, as the slide said, global cyber education company. And you see right there where it says reskilling and upskilling. When you say reskilling the workforce, is basically those people within the workforce that have tons of transferable skills, but they have no cybersecurity experience, just like I was. So they had to reskill me, and then you upskill the industry. Those that have some knowledge of it, have maybe a little computer background, and you just have to upskill those individuals. And once again, to tackle the 2 greatest threats, the talent shortage and the skills gap. We don't have enough people in the cybersecurity community, in the global cybersecurity community. We do not have enough people to fill all the positions. Okay, so why is it important? Here are about 5 different reasons as to why cybersecurity is so important. And I'm sure at some point or another, everyone over here was probably a victim or of a phishing attack. As you see in there, 1 in every 99 emails is a phishing attack. 70% of cybersecurity professionals mention about the impact of the skill shortage. I came from that organization that did not have a cybersecurity program. I have friends that have businesses, and I asked them about the cybersecurity program, and they do not have a cybersecurity program. They have an IT program, they have an IT director, they have an IT team, but not everybody that's IT is trained into cybersecurity. And you'll learn that as you go into the field. Sometimes your biggest, not your biggest enemy, but your biggest confrontations within the workforce, at least here in America, is the cybersecurity with the IT director. And I'm going to explain later on why. Look at that percentage of increase in cybercrime since COVID-19. And every year it's going to continue to increase. Why? Because we are all connected. Everybody's connected. More devices connect every day, every year. So cyber criminals are out there every day. The way that I'd like to explain this is when it comes to jobs in cybersecurity, is an amazing career when it comes to job security. It's an amazing career, job security, because cyber crimes are not going to stop. They will never stop. So as job security, you always need to have that team or that force that's going to have to be out there fighting this cyber criminal. Just as same way you have your police force, your armies that are out there to protect and combat criminals in a physical sense, then we need that force. We need that enforcement, that team that's going to combat those criminals in the digital world. And look at close to 86% of breaches are financially motivated. And there's many reasons why attackers do what they do. And I'm going to go over in one of the slides of several reasons, but that's a big number. So there is a lot of money in all these crimes that are committed when oftentimes you don't even know who's committing them. So those numbers are alarming. Why is a great career choice? Look at those numbers from 2021 to 2022. They basically double the on-field cybersecurity positions, 2.6 million in your region alone. And it's going to continue to grow. That cybersecurity sector growth in there that says 37% per year, that's above the average of average growth of every other industry or every other profession out there. So it's going to grow faster than average. Once again, the more we are connected, the more devices, everybody's connected. Therefore, everybody's hackable. Everybody's vulnerable. So the positions, in my opinion, are going to continue to increase as the years progress if we don't do what we're doing right now to educate and to reskill and upskill. Okay, so it's cybersecurity job categories. There are so many ways or so many different paths that you can choose in cybersecurity, which adds to the job security aspect of it. Because I call it the tentacles of cybersecurity, because there's job categories that are strictly around the attack, which is before stuff happens, where you threat intelligence, that's before any attack, before any incident happens. You have job positions, job titles that involve threat intelligence, collecting threat intelligence, analyzing threat intelligence before stuff happens. You have job categories that are there just for doing incident response while stuff is happening. And then you have job description or job positions that are there for after the fact, after the event, after the incident, after attacks. Then you have your cyber forensics. You have those people that are going to investigate and collect all these forensics and all these evidence that can stand up in legal court. And by the way, obviously, is digital evidence. So there's ways that you learn how to collect all this digital evidence that people think that was erased or destroyed, and you'd be surprised to find out that it wasn't. You learn all that stuff during the boot camp. There's also job categories around the defense. There's also job categories at the across. When you see around the defense, there's the micro, the mid, and the macro level. The micro level at the very bottom, you got the people that are writing the codes, the applications, and make sure those codes are secure. Make sure there's no backdoors. Make sure you dot all your I's and cross all your T's before you put that coding into operations. And at the macro level, you have the architects of all these cybersecurity infrastructures. Across every industry, you're gonna need, you got your CISSOs, you have your ethical hackers. I'm going to touch a little bit on ethical hacking later as well, which are your what they call the white hats, which is these people that you bring in an organization to test and check for vulnerabilities. Okay, so cybersecurity principles. This is one thing that is the bread and butter of every cybersecurity professional. Every cybersecurity professional, when they are making decisions on what protocols to implement, what guidelines, what type of encryption, anything that involves the share of information or safety or safeguarding of information, every cybersecurity professional have these three things in mind and make sure they measure everything within these three. They call them the CIA triad. CIA simply for confidentiality, integrity, and availability. What that simply means, confidentiality, it means keeping your stuff private. Everybody has the right to privacy. So when it comes to confidentiality, every cybersecurity professional, before they make decisions or when they decide, we're talking about data at rest or data in use or data in transit, when you send in an email from point A to point B, you want to make sure that your information remains private. But when it comes to integrity, that's when we're talking about data at rest, data in use, and data in transit as well. And when it comes to integrity is that the information that I sent you, when you get it in your end, is the same information, it hasn't been changed. So every cybersecurity professional has certain tools, some knowledge of how to establish or implement certain protocols to meet the integrity aspect of the CIA triad. And when it comes to availability, which is probably the hardest one, because when it comes to availability, let's be honest, everybody wants to have every technology available to them. At least here in America, every employee want to be able to go to Facebook. Every employee want to be able to go to LinkedIn. Every employee want to have every app available. And unfortunately, from the cybersecurity aspect, that's not always possible because some of those apps may be outdated or may be prone to certain attacks and they might not be suitable for the workplace. But you got to have those three things, those three principles of cybersecurity in order to make decisions and talk about cybersecurity and implement certain protocols and procedures and guidelines and SOPs. Same way we have the principles, the CIA triad, we have the cybersecurity pillars, which is process, people, and technology. When it comes to process, everything is a process. We're talking about the governance, the risk assessments, the process of how everything gets done, especially these days, your automated process. People, do you have the right people? Do you have the right personnel? Do you have the personnel skilled enough to accomplish the complete whichever task they're assigned to within the cybersecurity? And then without people, then people are your most important thing. You can't really implement the other stuff without your people. So you got to make sure you got the right people, the right amount of people, and the right people with the right training. And technology, obviously, what technology do you have? Do you have the right technology to implement some of this process? Do you have the right technology to detect certain events, such as, do you have IDSs? Do you have IDS? When it comes to IDS is an intrusion detection system. It's a tool. Do you have all those technologies and all those tools that you need to implement a good cybersecurity program? Here's where I mentioned a little bit about hackers before and the motivations for doing what they do. Criminals have all kinds of reasons in the world of doing why they do what they do. And here is no different. So here's some of the motivations, some of the actors that commit these cyber crimes. And the first one is what they call, for fun or challenge, they call them script kiddies. Just because it's called script kiddies doesn't mean they are kids. They are script kiddies that are adults. So age has nothing to do with what a script kiddie can do. A script kiddie means it's somebody that's very inexperienced and just doing it for fun, just doing it so they can tell their friends, look what we did. And 90% of the time they have no clue of how much damage or how many laws they just broke. So those are your script kiddies, and eventually they graduate into something worse. Then you have those ones that are doing it for ideological reasons. They have an agenda that they want to push in someone. You have the ones that call APT, the nation sponsor. Those are paid by different countries, different nations. Those are really dangerous because they have a lot of money and they have a lot of resources. And of course, you have those that are doing it for financial reasons. Remember at the beginning where it says 86% of the attacks were financially motivated. So there it is, your financial street kid is up to cybercrime syndicate. And obviously there is a lot of money in it, and cyber criminals are trying to capitalize. And they're doing this every day, every single day. They're working on it. They're working at it. So we cannot have a part-time mentality to a full-time threat. Okay, so this is some of the stuff you learn at the bootcamp. On the possibly the right hand side of your screen, and let me, here is how, excuse my drawing skills, but here's how a computerized system communicates. And this is how we as humans communicate. And it wasn't until I came to the bootcamp that I kind of put the two together. You know, this is how we communicate. If we want to go from point A to point B and we take a cab or taxi, we tell the taxi where to take us. We give them directions, and when they take us there, it was either, I don't know, maybe it was a sports event or a soccer match, a movie theater that somebody went to watch a movie, maybe a concert. And computers, that's how information gets. Here's how you get from point A to point B by using a taxi. On the other side of the screen, on this side is how how information goes from one system to the other, and that's how computers communicate. And you learn that all in the bootcamp. And you see how the arrows, how each line over here translate into the other side. I mean, okay, so here's another nice little diagram called the OSI model. This is mainly they call it a conceptual model because it's a lot of it is used in schools. They teach it in schools. And there's another one called the TCP/IP model, I'm sorry. And it's basically a troubleshooting model that cybersecurity professional, network administrators should know this stuff, because this is how the information, how data travels from point A to point B. And you see how each one has a number, it's called layers. And you see IT professionals or network professionals communicating like that in layers, in terms of layers. So when it comes to the problem, when they are troubleshooting a situation, they get a call that certain equipment or certain device is not doing what it's supposed to. So a network administrator will go based on this model to troubleshoot the problem. Sometimes a network administrator is talking to another IT person, and when they talking to each other, they say, we're having a layer 3 problem. So by knowing what the layers mean, then you know, okay, layer 3 means network. And the best way to learn it, when I learned it in school, I just take the first letter of each layer and make an acronym out of it. And the way I learned it is, please do not throw sausage pizza away. That was the way for me to learn what each one of the layers meant. And just a quick example, the physical is nothing else than your cords that are connected to the computer, your Ethernet, everything physical that you touch. That's why a lot of times when you call for IT services because your internet is not working or your computer's not working, a lot of times the IT professional will ask you, are your cords connected? Is everything connected? Are all the cables, everything? Because they doing the troubleshoot steps until they get to the root of the problem, basically. So this is another nice tool or model that you will learn during the bootcamp, which will allow you to troubleshoot just about every situation that you come across when it comes to networks. You also learn what device is used at each one of those layers. You actually do hands-on configuration to each one of those devices. For example, on layer 2, you see it's what is called a switch. Layer 3 in the network, they got routers. So you learn how to configure each one of those things, and you basically learn each one of those protocols and what each one of them means. At least by the time you finish the boot camp, you will have that knowledge. Okay, so what is hackable? Everything is hackable. Everything is hackable. Human beings are hackable. That acronym right there that says PEPCAT is just stand for the problem exists between the chair and the keyboard. And who's between the chair and the keyboard? It's a human. We are, I think Jakir touched that at the beginning when it comes to the human aspect of it. We are the most hackable people, or the most hackable devices, if you want to put it that way, because we can be tricked into the human nature. Those people that are experts in when it comes to social engineering, we are always tricked into either divulging sensitive information, or it's just our nature to help people sometimes, and we don't have that mentality to think beyond the just helping someone. There's got to be a certain mindset too that you learn at the boot camp. But because I can have all these nice little tools, but if I can't change the mindset and how you think and how you approach cybersecurity and cybersecurity incidents, then these tools are not going to be any good. So a lot of these aspects is soft skills that everybody brings from different fields into cybersecurity. So what I'm going to show you here is a short video of how easy someone can actually trick somebody else into giving them information and hack into somebody's account without really any IT skill. This is social engineering, and you will see at the end how easy this person was able to obtain everything that she will get. Let me know if you cannot hear.
Can't go? Do this to clear out stuck poop fast. Fiber helps you poop, right? Nope.
So I invited a few of the world's best hackers to try to hack me and show me where my vulnerabilities are. And now I'm going to meet them in Las Vegas for DEF CON, the biggest hacker convention of the year. They're going to hack me using social engineering, which is essentially hacking without
Okay, so we're having a little technical difficulties, but let me give you a summary of what this video is. This lady right here actually called the gentleman's bank, and she put a laptop right behind her, and she put a sound of a baby crying. So she used the sound of the baby crying, and the person that answered the call, she actually told the person that, oh my God, we're getting ready to move or something along those lines. And my husband wanted me to get all this stuff taken care of before we go. I have a newborn baby that's crying. She acts like she's talking to the baby, and the person felt so bad. Basically, the lady was able to get into the gentleman's bank account. She was able to change the bank account to her name. She was able to add her email, and she was also able to change the user ID and the password. So she basically owned everything now that he has, especially when it comes to the bank account. So he has to go in and change his bank account, change his user ID and password. And she used no computer skill, none, zero. All she did was got a phone call, a baby crying, and a vulnerable human being that thought that he or she was out there helping someone when in fact they weren't. I have about 5 more minutes, and what I wanted to show you real quick is, let's see. Can everybody see that the screen?
Yeah,
you
we can see it.
Okay, so what you see right here, this is actually a lab or an exercise that the students do in the boot camp. To the untrained eye, this is just a web application or a website. Most people call it a website. Oh, yeah, it's a website, but it's in fact an application of the web application because it lets you interact with it. So for the untrained eye, this is just a web app, a website, politics, some politicians, Secretary of State. But for me, as someone that loves ethical hacking, someone that's a cybersecurity professional, and for an actual hacker, for a criminal, they see an opportunity. Me as somebody on the good side, so the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna inspect this site to see if it interacts with me. And I just put the cursor right here, excuse me. And I'm just gonna hit enter first. And I already see that the web application gave me some information that it shouldn't have given me because all I did was hit enter. And he gave me some names over here and some positions. I wanna try something else. I'm just gonna put an asterisk, a star, and now it told me no players were found. So because it interacted with me, it actually let me know by giving me that information, it lets me know that it's vulnerable to what is called a SQL injection. So it's vulnerable to an attack. And simply, I don't even need this anymore for right now because I have a tool that I learned during the boot camp that's gonna do some investigation for me and try to give me some of the information that I want. Now, also, I learned through the boot camp about how databases are formed. When it comes to SQL databases, and databases have tables and columns, and that's how the information is stored in there. So I'm going to go with this tool to investigate behind the scenes, to investigate the DBMS, to do some investigations for me. And because this takes some time to do, I actually ran it before I got in here, and I'm going to show you exactly what I was able to discover. Let me get my drawing tool real quick. So, okay, so I came over here, and this thing is called SQL map. And all I did was I copy and pasted the link, the URL. That's all I did. I copied and pasted the URL until the equal sign out, and I closed it by just putting a 1. I added this right here, -U, that I learned during the boot camp, and this stands simply for databases. So I wanted to inspect to see what databases are there. And based on the databases, if I find some databases, I wanted to investigate those databases to see what information I can actually have access to it. Now let me move this down real quick. Okay, so once I did that, I hit enter and the tool started investigating. All this stuff that you see here is all kinds of tests that the tool is doing for me. The tool is doing it. It's investigating connection, it's investigating different databases, it's investigating everything for me. And what it did, when it gave me the results, it showed me all these 8 different databases. So now I know there's databases there, and I'm going to continue investigating, and I want to investigate this database right here because I think this database may have some sensitive information. So I go back down here and I do that same SQL map command that I did up there. Now I changed some codes over here, elections. Now I'm looking into tables. I want to continue to investigate until it gives me what I want. And over here at the end, I'm going to show you exactly what I was able to discover and what a hacker also will be able to discover if the proper security measures are not in place. So by the time I finished this hack or this breach, I was able to find social security numbers, addresses, and names of voters. The great thing is this is just an exercise. This is a safe environment. So here, nothing happens. But can you imagine if I get a hold of a website that has millions of names and social security numbers, the kind of damage that I will be able to do is unimaginable. And I can do that if they don't have the proper security measures, I can do that within minutes if the tool does its job. And I can ruin your reputation. I can ruin your organization's reputation. That reputation that took you 20 years to build, I can ruin it in one event, one cybersecurity event. I can ruin your whole reputation. And with that, I share my time back to, is it Majid or Jakir?
Yeah, I can take this back. Thank you. What an amazing, in-depth insights that you've given away. Really thankful. Yakira, you want to talk a little bit about ThriveDX and the platform you guys have created?
Sure. So thank you so much, Ovi. It was very insightful. And also touching on a couple of the labs that you actually showed, because the labs are also a part of our platform and the way that we actually deliver the content for cybersecurity. So let me just quickly share my screen. Once again. Okay. Can you see my presentation?
Yep,
Yes.
you can see it.
Okay, fantastic. So basically why our solution works in terms of like the education and the bootcamp and the content that we actually created. We see that a lot of typical training are in the market today, and you basically watch a video and then you have an exam and that's pretty much it, right? But you don't have the proper hands-on experience that basically eventually you will encounter it when you will go to work, basically to work in this field of cybersecurity. So all of our solutions of ThriveDX are actually based on real world content, real cyber attacks that happened in the past. And we took them and we converted them into our platform, which is a cloud-based platform, which means that you don't need to install anything, okay? You just need to log in with your credentials and that's it. You don't need to install any software, any updates. And also you will get the most up-to-date content available today according to the recent trends in cybersecurity, because this world keeps on evolving and the hackers are also becoming more and more sophisticated. So also in ThriveDX, we have a team of cyber experts sitting in Tel Aviv, in the US, in Europe as well, in other places around the world, including India. So they basically keep on updating the platform for you as well. So using the platform, you will increase your knowledge and skill using the platform. You will actually improve your critical thinking and problem solving skills because you will face scenarios that you haven't, let's say, encountered before, and you now need to solve it. And this is exactly like in the real world, because eventually you will finish this training and you will become a cyber expert and you will encounter in real world problems that you need to face, that you need to solve basically. It will increase your confidence, okay, because we give you this hands-on experience, and it will reduce the risk. Why is that? Because you will practice in a safe environment, okay? And now let me jump into the actual platform and to show you how it looks. So basically, this is the platform that you are going to use. This is the learning management system called Docebo. All the content of the bootcamp is there. So as you can see, it comprises of the material itself and also short videos and mini games, quizzes, knowledge checks along the ways. But the most important thing is the labs and the scenario, these hands-on skills. And we are speaking about around 100 hands-on labs exercises, practical knowledge in cybersecurity. And I want to show you this very short video because we are now at ethical hacking and incident response module inside the bootcamp. And this is Roy Tsur, our CEO, the CEO of ThriveDX, and he actually served in the elite cybersecurity unit of the Israeli of the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces, for 12 years. And he took all the learning methodologies, all the unique techniques, and converted them into our platform as well. So let me show you this video.
Some say that the best defense is a good offense. In this course, you will understand the methodologies of the offensive side of cybersecurity and cyber warfare. This course is comprised of two parts. The first one, the ethical hacking, in which you will learn how to perform pre-approved cyber attacks to improve your cyber defense skills. The second part, incident response, in which you will learn all the relevant methodologies to respond correctly once you've been attacked. Enjoy the course and good luck.
And then basically you see on the left, you have the toolbar. So you have the basic introduction and the entire topics of the modules. So let's dive in. I'll show you, like, for example, about what is ethical hacking. You basically dive in and you see the content is highly engageable. Okay, so it's a very unique experience for you. And also we have knowledge checks along the way, including mini games to keep your, let's say, experience up to the maximum. Okay, so it's not just reading content. You need to engage with the content itself. You have knowledge checks to keep you alert. And of course, you have quizzes and exams after every module, and also at the end of the bootcamp to basically qualify you. And once you finish all the program, we will give you, like, the certification that you can actually pursue your career in cybersecurity. So, but I want to show you also the labs, the unique lab that we have. As you can see, in every module, we have also a scenario. Okay, so the scenario is the most important thing. So let's show you in how does it look. For example, this is a scenario called the nighttime cyber attack. Okay, so as you can see, this is not my my desktop. This is a cloud-based virtual machine. It's a scenario called nighttime cyber attack, and this is what you need to do. You have the clock, and you basically need to perform some kind of a defensive act or offensive act in cybersecurity. In this, we are speaking about defensive act. I will show you, like, the video.
Hello?
Hey, it's Angie from the SOC team. Sorry for the late hour.
It's okay. What happened?
We have identified SQL injection attempts. The system alerted us of a potential security breach. We need you to get quickly to the office and figure it out.
Okay, so in this scenario, basically, you will play the role of a SOC analyst that in the middle of the night, his company is calling him back to work, back to office, because the company is being attacked. Okay, and this is also a very typical a scenario that happens in the real world today. So in order to investigate and to find where the attack is coming from, you need to use Splunk, okay, which is a very popular tool in cybersecurity, and you need to do it in these time slots, okay? But of course, you can extend the time here, okay? You can pause the lab, you can terminate the lab, and so on. So this is an example of a virtual machine that we have. Another one, it is called the network hacker, okay? And this is the offensive side of cybersecurity. Here, you will need to know how to attack, because in order to become a good defender, you must be able to attack, okay? But what is unique here, as you can see, this is a Kali Linux machine. And basically, my computer is basically run on a Windows operating system. So we are using multiple tools, multiple operating systems in order to give you basically the entire experience in cybersecurity, okay? And what is unique here, that you can toggle between an attacker and a victim's computer, okay? So you can actually understand this attack from both angles. And this is highly important in today's, in the real world, basically. Okay, so this is an example of another virtual machine that we have, and we have around 100 of them. And the final one, this is what Ovi showed you, but I want to show you the video behind it. This is the scenario that we built behind these labs.
Ronnie. The state representatives contacted us. They want us to check if their database is protected. Our best team members are on it. They have started their investigation by looking for breaches in the state's website. I trust you find a breach.
Okay, so this is exactly the lab that Ovi showed you, but this is the scenario that we build around it, like the storyline that you need to basically to help and to defend democracy if it's under attack. Okay, so this is one example of another example of a lab. And finally, I want to show you the dashboard that we have in the platform. Basically, we entire statistics, and this is, for example, my page. And again, this is only a test page only to show you how it looks. And all the statistics are here. Basically, how much time you spent in the platform, when did you subscribe, which active modules do you have, and also your gradings as well. So also we have the full capacity of basically tracking the entire process along the way. And we can also recognize maybe students that are maybe back and they need some kind of additional support. Okay, so we also have this as a part of the platform that we provide. So let me just stop sharing my screen and over to you, Majid.
Excellent. Thanks, Yakir. Are you able to see my screen now, Yakir?
Yeah.
Excellent. So amazing. You know, ThriveDX not only enables learning, but also gives us a hands-on training with the lab. So we have content, which is in the form of videos, texts. We have gaming, we have labs, we have evaluation. So this is the reason why Ajuba has partnered with ThriveDX, an amazing platform in all. So what we are doing is taking this content and converting this into an actual diploma and certifications for Skill India. So I'm going to kind of go over what exactly are we doing for India. Let me see here. Just give me 1 second. Okay. So what we have done is we are offering two things. One is for the university and college graduates, we are offering a postgraduate diploma. In fact, this year, admissions are open right now. We are giving postgraduate diploma in cybersecurity, which is 1 degree. The other is also in semiconductor. I'll touch on that in a second. It's a very unique program for students that are graduating from university or college. You'll spend 1 year with us, and then it's a 6-month paid internship. So if you have a 3-year degree or a 4-year degree, it could be in any engineering. You can be part of this journey for the postgraduate diploma. The other offering that we do is for the high school students and faculty. So the postgraduate is more like a year program. For a high school students and faculty is more of a condensed 1 to 3 month program. And these are the two programs that we are offering to all the different university students that are graduating. I'm just going to touch up a little bit upon the cybersecurity, the amount of jobs that are out there. So if we just look at in terms of the cyber crime that is happening, in 2022, the amount spent, the damage it has occurred is about 6 trillion. And they're saying by 2023, it'll be 8 trillion. You know, when we look at the GDP numbers, after US and China, cyber crime will have its own number. That is such a large amount that we have to tackle. In terms of job opportunities, there are worldwide 3.5 million, 35 lakhs unfilled cybersecurity jobs. Just to give a perspective, that means a 3x population of Chandigarh, which is a city in India. What are we offering in the degree? So when we talk about the 1 year postgraduate diploma, the student will spend 9 months in India. So the 9 months that the student is spending in India, we will be utilizing both the technical skills that you saw what we will be offering with ThriveDX, but also soft and hard skills. We believe a career is not always only about technical. It is also about soft and hard skills, communication skills. How do you build your resume? How do you kind of do team building? How to manage stress? So these are all the different modules that we are coming up for the 9 months. Then we have partnered with Rochester Institute of Technology. It's a university from Rochester, New York, where a student, after spending 9 months in India, will go for advanced learning for 3 months in USA. So we have given like 3 different options to the participants that will join for this postgraduate diploma. They can either spend those 3 months in India, either they can spend in USA or Israel. So these are different advanced learning programs for 3 months that we are offering. So like I mentioned, it's not all about technical, soft and hard skills. It's all a combination of all that together. It's combination of all that with advanced learning. That's what you will get from 1-year degree. When we talk about internship, after you finish a 1-year program with the postgraduate diploma, you will get 6 months of internship interviews. Ajuba will line up minimum 3 companies for the students. Now it is between the student and the company, which ones they kind of go with. So that is our commitment, that every student that is enrolled for this program, we will line up 3 interviews for the student. These are going to be globally, be it in US or Far East or even in India. So it's a paid internship. So that's a differentiation, that after you finish your 1-year degree diploma, it's going to be a 6-month paid internship. Just to kind of give you some numbers, an average salary in US for a cybersecurity is 97,000 approximately, which boils down to per month of 6.6 lakhs. An internship that a student will do is going to be somewhere minimum around 3,500 per month, which equates to, for 6 months, they will make about 17 lakhs. So this kind of gives you the internship program. Now I'm going to pause a little bit. Ajuba is going beyond cybersecurity. So like I mentioned, we are also coming out with a postgraduate diploma in semiconductor. Semiconductor is a huge area that India is focusing on, and globally there is huge opportunities in that area. I wanted to, before we go into a Q&A session, I just wanted to inform everybody that Ajuba, with its fortnightly webinar series, our next series is going to be on semiconductor. It's going to be on June 4th, which is Sunday again at 8 p.m. India time. We will have Amos Dror. He's the head of pharma vertical and CTO at Applied Materials. So Applied Material is one of the largest equipment manufacturing company within semiconductor. They are the ones that make equipments that is being utilized by chip manufacturers like Intel, Motorola to make chips. So this is the next webinar series. Just kind of give you some numbers. There is huge opportunity in semiconductor also. There is more than 1 million jobs that are going to be available moving forward. In India, I'm sure all the attendees that are listening right now, every day there is some news that this fab is coming up in India or that fab. There is all large groups are tying up to bring in investment into India. A fab, just to give you a number, a semiconductor fab requires a $2 billion investment to make it. There is already more than 7 fab announcements that are coming up in India. So stay tuned for our next webinar. Now let's kind of jump into our Q&A session. Rishi, over to you. You want to? There were several questions that came in, and I would request Rishi to kind of go over those questions.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
So in terms of obviously the queries and the questions that we did receive, firstly, let's begin. I mean, in terms of the online banking fraud. So, I mean, obviously, just to open it up to the panelists, we would like to understand, what are the types of banking fraud which are there, and what measures, can one take to protect themselves from such banking frauds?
Maybe I can get off mute, right?
Yeah, go ahead. Bobby.
Okay, yes, I can take that. So, okay, so when it comes to banking, online banking fraud, obviously it's the banking industry, but the way I look at it as a cybersecurity professional, yes, they all systems, they're all computers. So it just so happened this time it's the banking and it involves money. But you see the same kind of attack. You see, when it comes to online banking, you're going to see phishing attacks. You're going to see account takeover. There are car skimming attacks that are out there, and there's also malware-based software. What can you do to mitigate those things, or what can you do to protect your devices or your infrastructure better when it comes to online banking fraud? Obviously, stronger password policies, multi-factor authentication, which is one that a lot of organizations, unfortunately, are not doing yet. Those are some of the ones that you can do. And obviously, regular monitoring, if especially when it comes to banking, I'm sure, and I hope every bank out there has some sort of security operations center where they monitor all their traffic to look for events or attacks and stuff like that, which is, by the way, a technique that you also learn in the boot camp, because you learn how to monitor traffic using Wireshark.
Also, to add to that, another aspect is to educate the employees of the bank. And actually, one of the key areas that DriveDX is focusing on is the financial institutions and banking. And basically, we have a platform. This is one of the, let's say, the solution that we offer for enterprise, because we also aim at enterprises, is basically a platform where the bank or the CISO of the bank, the Chief Information Security Officer, can attack his own company, his own employees of the bank using our platform. So he can actually see where is the vulnerability coming from, which department, which employees, and then accordingly he can train them using our training models as well. So this is another platform separately that we actually develop for the banking and enterprises.
Excellent. Rishi, next question.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, the next question that we did have from the attendees is obviously in terms of phone hacking, and what are the various methods that that are possibly out there, right, in terms of gaining access to your mobile, and I mean, obviously, as a user, how can I prevent that from happening in the end? From someone unauthorizingly, accessing my device in the end.
Okay, so similar to the other ones, you're going to see phishing attacks into mobile devices. You're going to see what is called the SIM card, SIM cloning, where they clone the SIM card and gain access to your mobile devices. Depending on what kind of apps you have in there, you may have some vulnerabilities in there as well. As much as you have them on a PC, you can have them on your phone too. And based on those vulnerabilities, attackers or hackers are able to gain access to your phone. Here as well, you got to have a strong password or PIN or password for your mobile devices. You also want to have, just like in a computer, you want to install the some sort of anti-virus, anti-malware from reputable sources. For example, in my mobile phone, I have Bitdefender, I have VPNs, I have everything I can have on my computer. I have it on my mobile devices as well.
Great. I believe there is a question, there's a hand raised by, it just says iPhone 14 Plus. So you can unmute yourself and you can ask a question, or the other option is you can type your question in the chat box. So meanwhile, Rishi, can you go to the next question, please?
Sure. So, in terms of skills, right? So, what are the most critical skills and knowledge, for example, that a student, right, would need to focus on to pursue a career in cybersecurity? And, that's something, which is the bare minimum to, get to the next level.
Okay, that's a really good one too. Prior to jumping into cybersecurity, to be completely honest with you, some of the skills that you want to bring over, if you're a lifelong learner, this is an amazing field for you. If you're looking obviously to change career, you bring a lot of transferable skills that are, I think Jakir mentioned them before, Majid talked about the communication and learn how to communicate with people, learn how to do reports, because it's a lot more than just having technical skills or having all these fancy tools. There's a lot of critical skills and knowledge that you bring to cybersecurity prior to even learning anything about cybersecurity. Of course, once you learn or go through a boot camp, for example, like I did, you gain all these other knowledge that you needed to have. Not only gain the knowledge, as we discussed, we learned how to actually do it, how to hands-on. I came out of that boot camp knowing how to configure routers, switches, servers. I learned how everything communicated with each other. I learned every single tool to how to get into a web application, how to get into a server. So you learn all those skills during the boot camp. So prior to it, you just bring transferable skills. I don't care if you work at I'm using here as an example. I had a coworker with me. She worked at McDonald's, but you know what she did have that had nothing to do with cybersecurity. She knew how to work well under pressure, because she was working in them rush hours and then McDonald's where everybody wants to eat really quick. She was a shift leader. So she knows how to work under pressure, how to decision making under pressure, which are two amazing skills to bring into cybersecurity.
Yeah,
So,
amazing. Avi, I would totally agree. Like I was saying earlier, it's not always about technical skills. To be a well-rounded person, you need to have your soft and other hard skills in place too. So the postgraduate diploma that we are offering is a complete encompassing the technical, soft and hard skills. You will be able to communicate, you'll be able to be part of a team, stress management, so that one year postgraduate diploma, that's what we will bring to the table. Rishi, there were several questions about machine learning. Could you ask the first one?
I mean, obviously, so in terms of, quickly moving on to the next question, right? As a cybersecurity professional, right, how would you use machine learning and artificial intelligence in your work? I mean, could you just give some sort of example, and how, for example, even the context of, for example, using auto ML and auto DL, right, for your cybersecurity best practices?
Yeah, you're talking about automated machine language, and I think the ADL was an automated
deep learning.
Deep learning.
Yes, that's right.
And yeah, of course, then machine learning is something that is new to a lot of people, but it's not that new. It's obviously computers that are learning based on behaviors, and sometimes you feed these computers all kinds of you feed them all kinds of things for them to learn, for the computers to learn. So an example of using machine learning when it comes to cybersecurity, obviously for automated tasks, for monitoring tools and all that stuff, you can use machine learning to learn how to automate and do all that stuff for you. That's going to help you to do probably a better analysis. So yeah, but the automated machine learning and automated deep learning To my understanding, the automated deep learning it builds certain modules for the automated machine learning, but they all involve the baseline or it starts with the machine learning, and cybersecurity can be used for such tasks that have enormous amount of data that you want the system to go through and bring you some certain queries and all that. When you have enormous amount of data, you want machine learning is the way to go.
Great, excellent. Rishi, we have time for 2 more questions. Could you, I think there were questions about ethical hacking. Could you ask about ethical hacking?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, just to address in terms of ethical hacking, right? How is ethical hacking different, from malicious hacking or cybersecurity? And, what is the main objective in terms of, ethical hacking in the end?
Okay, ethical hacking. Okay, so that's kind of an
I'm
oxymoron,
sorry,
right?
just to, before you go on, sorry, just to interrupt you over here. Obviously, we have some questions out here as well on that. What are the skills again which are required to be an ethical hacker? So just to address this in one whole bunch.
Okay, so when it comes to ethical hacking, I always look at ethical hacking, what we call an oxymoron, ethical hacking. And to be honest with you, it's just the good side of the house. An ethical hacker learn the same techniques, the same tools, the same. So what we say I learned this in the Army a long time ago. You train as you fight. You train got to be as realistic as possible. So me as somebody that I do want to concentrate on ethical hacking, I have to think like the enemy. In order for me to be successful and to be able to defend those that hire me to defend their systems, I got to think like the enemy. I got to stay on top of the latest TTPs of the enemies. I have to know all the hacking tools that the enemy does. So ethical hacking, or what they call penetration testers, organizations hire them to come in and find vulnerabilities within their systems, within their network. Meaning you have permission to hack into their system, and there's different kinds, because an organization may only give you certain information for you to figure everything else out. So there's different categories. If an organization gives you everything, passwords, everything, they just want you to check everything, then there's a category for that. There's other organizations that will hire you and won't give you any information. And there's steps that you learn as an ethical hacker. There's it's called a cyber kill chain. It was created by Lockheed Martin, which is what you use, the steps that you use to, from before you go gain access to a target until you do what you do within the target and you get out. But there's ways, it's an entire process where you learn how to move like a hacker, but you also learn how to defend it. Because if you know how to attack it and how to break it, you should know how to defend it. And that's basically what ethical hackers do. You just have permission.
Excellent, Avi. Thank you. There was a question, Rishi, on cloud security. Could you ask that?
I mean, so in terms of cloud security, right, what are the main challenges can organizations face when it comes to ensuring cloud and network security?
I think the biggest thing right now when it comes to cloud security is actually the protection, because everything is on the cloud. So you learn this thing, and especially network, when it comes to networking, you either on premise or off premise. Or back in the days, everybody had all their systems, everything within the organization, their little closet, and a lot of organizations still do. But then with the advent of the cloud computing and how scalable things are and how easier it is to, in a way, go to the cloud, but now you put in the trust on someone else because you don't have that stuff within you. Somebody else is probably responsible for the security, for the privacy, for the CIA triad that I was mentioning during the speech, the confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Somebody else is in charge of that. So that is something to consider when it comes to data protection, privacy. There's other regulatory compliances. Different countries have different laws and different regulations that you have to follow. And when you don't have control of that stuff, it's on the cloud, then there may be issues with those regulatory compliances. So
Excellent.
yeah, it's just you don't have full control of it.
So true, Avi. Let's, Rishi, there was a question on cryptography. Could you ask that?
So what role does cryptography play in cybersecurity, and how do you secure your data using cryptography in the end?
Okay, cryptography, when it comes to cryptography and cybersecurity, is very critical, because when you're talking about cryptography in cybersecurity, you're talking about encryption. You're talking about, without going too technical, they have this public key infrastructure, the key system, where someone, when you're going to encrypt a communication between point A and point B, then you have to determine which kind of encryption, and this encryption have these keys that one person has the private key and the other person has the public key, and only the person with the private key can actually open that document, that email, whatever you send to that person. So yeah, cryptography is very critical, especially when it comes to defending your data or your information. Is one of the layers of the many layers of cybersecurity protection. So cybersecurity is a multi-layer type of approach. It's not just one thing that's going to defend the entire thing. It's called defense in depth. It's a bunch of layers. So yeah,
Excellent.
cryptography is very critical.
Great, thank you, Avi. So there are two other questions. Final two questions is, can a person with no IT background learn and join this course? In fact, I will take that up. You know what, I talked about two different programs. One is a postgraduate diploma. The other was an intro to cybersecurity. So if you're a person with no IT background, in fact, you can, the Thrive DX platform is built such a way, in fact, they call it zero to hero. It does not require any technical background. But so I would suggest, if you're a person with no IT background, look at our intro to cybersecurity program. So that will be a good start for you. It's a 40-hour program that we are offering. Number two, for postgraduate diploma, we have three different options for advanced learning. First option is with the US program, where for advanced learning, the student will go to US for 10 weeks. The second option is Israel that we're working on. The third option is India. So part of RIT's requirement, if you are opting for a postgraduate diploma with us, you need to be having an engineering background. If you opt for a US advanced learning, but if you're opting for a India-based learning for advanced learning for 3 months, you do not need to have an engineering background. You could be in medical or an art student, you can join into cybersecurity. So these are the different options. Now, I really want to thank Avi, our speakers, Yakir, and in fact, a big thanks to Rishi for asking all the Q&A session. Again, participants, let us not end our learning today. Keep it going. Join our next webinar series on June 4th, which is a Sunday at 8 p.m. India time. We will have Amos Dor, who's the head of Pharma Vertical and CTO of Applied Materials, as a keynote speaker talking about semiconductor and the opportunities in that field. So again, thanks again, Avi, Yakir, Rishi, thanks you so much for making this such a great session for everybody. Great learning.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye all.
Thank you. Thank you to
evening.
all the attendees. It was great, amazing learning we had.